ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੁਣ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੂਡ ਬੈਂਕਸ ਆਫ ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਕੋਲੰਬੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਫੂਡ ਬੈਂਕਸ BC ਤੋਂ ਡੈਨ ਹੰਗ ਟੇਲਰ ਜੋ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਿਵ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਰ ਨੇ ਫੂਡ ਬੈਂਕਸ BC ਦੇ ਉਹ ਜੁੜ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਬੜੇ ਅਹਿਮ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਤੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ। ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਫੂਡ ਬੈਂਕ ਆ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਫੂਡ ਬੈਂਕ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਲਗਭਗ ਕਈ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਹੁਣ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਨਿਭਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਦੂਖਨਿਵਾਰਨ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਰਥ ਡੈਲਟਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਪਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਸਵਾਲ ਸੀ ਤੌਖਲਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੂਡ ਬੈਂਕਸ BC ਦਾ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਬਣਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬੜੀਆਂ ਸਮੱਸਿਆਵਾਂ ਆ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਅੱਜ ਫੂਡ ਬੈਂਕ BC ਤੋਂ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਿਵ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ 'ਚ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਨੇ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਇੱਕ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਆਖਿਰਕਾਰ ਇਹ ਫੂਡ ਬੈਂਕ BC ਹੈ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਕੀ ਇਹ ਸਰਕਾਰੀ ਅਦਾਰਾ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਇੰਡੀਪੈਂਡੈਂਟ ਅਦਾਰਾ ਹੈ, ਫਿਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਸਥਾਨਕ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਫੂਡ ਬੈਂਕ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੈਂਬਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਹੈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਅਪਣਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ, ਆਖਿਰਕਾਰ ਸਮੱਸਿਆਵਾਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਆ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਤਾਣਾ ਬਾਣਾ ਉਲਝਿਆ ਕਿਉਂ ਪਿਆ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਗਲੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਮਿਸਟਰ ਟੈਂਗ, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮੇਸੀ TV.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for coming here. First of all, can you tell us a little bit about Food Banks BC? When was this made and how was this originated? Please, something about your history.
Of course, yeah. So we're a member association for food banks in BC. We've been around since the late 90s and we have 107 members that comprise our membership. We're working with an increasing number of non-member agencies, and we also do work to support relief efforts in times of emergencies by getting food and other provisions into places that have been impacted by things like fires and floods. We have work that's focused on supporting communities in rural and remote parts of the province. And the bulk of our work, though, is supporting the agencies that comprise our membership and non-members through their...
So you're working as a mediator between the government and the food banks?
Well, we have a relationship with the government where we've been able to secure funds that have been able to sort of support the work that agencies are doing and also some focus on some other priority areas as well. But we operate entirely independently.
So you're not a government association or like something related to government?
No, we're an independent charity.
You're an independent charity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why does the food banks have to take the membership from Food Banks BC then if you're an independent charity?
Well, we have a process where food banks can be a part of our association, a member of the association. And when this model was conceived, what we saw was the ability to have a specific agency that was responsible, like the steward of food for the community that it was operating in. And if we were able to provide assistance to support that organisation, they would be in a better position to have greater impact.
So if any food bank who's serving in like Lower Mainland or BC, if they're not your member, they won't receive the grants from the government?
We have a non-member funding as well for agencies that aren't part of our membership.
But so does government pay them or you pay them? Like, does the government pay to you guys and then you pay to the other food banks?
We have some funds that come from the government that we are able to allocate to members and non-members. The government is also distributing funds through other organisations or directly to other organisations as well, but we're just one of the ways that say government funding can get to organisations doing this work.
Okay, and if someone is a non-member, then how much do they get?
It depends on the size of the operation. We have a bit of a sliding scale there, and it's with the current budget that we're operating with, we've been able to provide up to $30,000 to non-member agencies. Yes.
Okay, and then how much to the members?
Well, it depends on the size of the operation.
Again, the size. Okay.
Yeah. So it once again it's a sliding scale. Some of our largest members will be receiving more than 30,000, but at the same time, if you're a member of Food Banks BC, you're expected to support all of the people and agencies that reside within the communities that you serve. So a lot of the time, those funds are also supporting the work of the agencies that they're supporting.
Why does like with the recent days, Guru Nanak Food Bank have been asking to become the member for the Food Banks BC? Certainly, why does it come into the news now? That's why we called you here, just to discuss that what's going right and what's going wrong. Why haven't they been the members so far for the Food Banks BC?
Well, under our current model, we have one food bank that might operate within a particular area. It could be a municipality or it could be a larger region. And the Surrey Food Bank has been providing...
One food bank in one city, one municipality?
In some cases, but in some cases we'll have one food bank that operates across different cities.
Okay.
And the Surrey Food Bank has services that it's been providing in North Delta since the late 90s.
Okay.
They also operate in Cloverdale as well. And under the current model, they satisfy the requirements that we have for providing access to food within that community. And this is something...
But with the change in the population and the geographic, do you think that still it's right to be just one food bank, to take one food bank as the member for the Food Bank B.C. and ignore other, doesn't matter how big they are, how big numbers they're serving?
We introduced the non-member funding in recognition of that. And we're currently undertaking a very thorough process to review that membership model because, yes, the times have changed.
Non-member funding is just 30,000, if I'm not wrong.
The current funds available, yes, it's up to 30,000.
30,000, yeah.
But like I said, we're in the process of reviewing this model. We recognise that since that was conceived, things have changed. The environment is very different. The demand for food banks is greater. The number of organisations like Guru Nanak who've been operating that food bank since 2022.
Yeah.
They're a good example of the organisations that have sprung up in the recent years because of the demand.
As you were talking about the Surrey Food Bank, no doubt, like they're doing a great job. But I was just looking at the data in this April last month, they served 16,000 meals. And when I was looking at the data for the Guru Nanak Food Bank, they have open files for 18,500, like even bigger than Surrey Food Bank. So do you take these numbers into consideration? We
certainly need to consider this. So this is the demand that we're speaking about and the reason why that we're reviewing this model. We know that the strain on food banks is great. We know that in the Surrey region, we're seeing higher levels of support needed than we are in many other communities in BC, and it's important that we adapt to the times.
Okay, so with this time change, there have been so many things changed. I was looking at a few of your interviews. You had an interview with, I think, CBC and then with another TV channel and with the radio station of the community as well. There were two different statements on two. On the one, you said that Guru Nanak Food Bank never applied, and then when you said, and on the another one, it was like they have applied, but we are going through a process. So that's a bit of confusion. Do you want to give any clarification for that?
Sure. Yeah. This has come up in another interview. The actual submission of an application hasn't happened, but we're very aware that Guru Nanak is interested in becoming a member.
So till today, like they haven't submitted any kind of application.
And the reason why that is because we go through a process that involves that we consult with our member agency, the Surrey Food Bank. We did not want the Guru Nanak Food Bank to have to undertake the pretty onerous application process if there was a chance that this could be rejected. We want to do the due diligence first to avoid them having to go through the work if it wasn't going to result in their ability to apply. And over this course of these recent months is when we've been reviewing this membership model as well.
And what is the application process to become the member?
Well, once we've cleared with our local agencies that there's no concern about another organisation coming into an area that they're already serving, if that's...
Do they mind something?
That is within our constitution and our bylaws, that our members have a role to play in determining whether this would be an organisation that is directly serving in the same community that they are.
So if any of the new food bank come, like the Guru Nanak Food Bank, like they're serving 18,500, that's a big number, almost biggest in the region, I would say, in any of the food bank here in on this side of the Fraser. And do you think other food banks would mind from that? Do you think there's kind of changes we need to bring to the constitution?
Well, this is the process, and we're not just speaking with our members, but we're going to be speaking with other agencies as well, like the Guru Nanak Food Bank and a number of non-member agencies that have expressed interest in membership too. It's a very comprehensive process of consultation, and we're hoping to have a better sense of things by the end of this year.
So can we hope in the coming days to Guru Nanak Food Bank to become a member?
Well, in the coming days, it would take a lot for us to be able to change the bylaws and completely create the new model in the coming days. We're hoping over the course of the rest of this year to be able to get to that point, because there's still a lot of consultation to do. But we are in active dialogue with the Guru Nanak Food Bank. We'll be meeting with them next week to talk about what opportunities we have to support the great work they're doing, and to speak to how we want to progress this in a positive direction.
Perfect. All the best for the future, and the community really wants and they demand Guru Nanak Food Bank to become the member, because they have been serving like very vastly in all the emergency services during COVID, during fire. They've been hiring helicopters. Even national media have been giving them the like all the footage, and even the Prime Minister is coming, and even the opposition party leaders, all the leaders, they have been coming, and the community wants. We hope and we want you to understand this, and hopefully work together and bring all the communities together. You can play a big role there, Mr. Dan. Thank you so much for coming to Prime TV.
Thank you very much for having me on today.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So ਇਸ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਫੂਡ ਬੈਂਕਸ BC ਦੇ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਿਵ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਰ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਡੈਨ ਹੋਇੰਗ ਟੇਲਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਡਿਟੇਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ।